So, with My Hero being back in season 4 is currently going on. It's a super popular show. I enjoy it a good amount, so I figured it's a good idea to do a My Hero video, and what better thing to do than going back to the basics of the Franky channel. Let's do a top 10 of Class A ranking video. Also, before we do get into this video, I would like to mention that this is not my opinion. What we're talking about here is not my opinion. It's straight up canon, straight facts, okay? The things that I say when I'm talking about power scaling and whatnot, it's just true, all right? Like when I say stuff like Doflamingo is Admiral level, this is just objectively the truth, so just bear that in mind. Also, while I already have read everything that happens in Season 4, I'm only going to be talking about them based on stuff we have seen right before Season 4 starts. So no manga stuff and no actual Season 4 stuff. So coming in at number 10, I have Yoruu. I thought that she was going to be a lot more powerful when I first found out exactly what her quirk is, but I don't know. I mean, she's definitely, as you can see, in the upper tier of the class, or the upper half, I should say. But she has been kind of underwhelming. It doesn't seem like she's always making the best things that she possibly could be. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know exactly how that ability works. Like, how complex would it be to create a gun, right? She hasn't seemed to make things like that. But at the same time, if that was what she was going to do, then couldn't you just, like, carry around a gun? Right. It's like, okay, I mean, she can create anything theoretically, but as far as I've seen, nothing has been unbelievably useful so far. She is highly intelligent though, and she has done stuff that is significantly better than a lot of the lower people in this class, so I definitely think she belonged to at least be on the top 10 list, and I also do see a lot of potential for her in the future. I expect a lot from her. Okay, and next we have Sara, who has the ability to, I guess, project tape from outside of himself. It's an interesting ability. It's kind of creative. I mean, I guess it's not really creative, but it's something I wouldn't have expected. That's true for a lot of the quirks in My Hero, of course. When I first learned what his ability was, I thought, okay, that doesn't sound particularly powerful, so I guess that's just something that's happening. But it turns out that his tape is actually extremely sturdy. He is able to wrap people up entirely and just swing them all around the place. So it is a lot more powerful than I actually originally anticipated. While it's definitely nowhere near as good, it is kind of similar, at least fundamentally, to how Dofi's fruit works from One Piece, and I consider that like top 3 strongest devil fruits in the series, so that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I think he's pretty good overall. I think 9th place is a good spot for him. Next on the list, we have Ashido. I think this one's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's the ability to project some kind of corrosive substance, some liquid jelly kind of thing. That's pretty good by itself, especially when she is able to control exactly both how corrosive it is, as well as how viscous it is, meaning if it's like super sticky like honey, or if it's really slippery like something else, I guess. It's not like I've actually seen her kill anyone with this ability, so I'm not 100% sure if it's so powerful that it's like HCL where it could burn through somebody, but I like to think it probably could be. I mean, like, what really would be her use if it could not? But it is also very versatile, like I said, in being able to, like, make something to slide across. So it's very good, I think. Not the best thing ever, but she is pretty high up there at number 8. Next on the list at number 7, I have FRAP. Yes, I am calling her that because it is the greatest name ever. It is technically hers, so it is a fun thing to say. I think that she is super underrated. Most people don't really seem to take her into account when they are power scaling, at least these particular characters in My Hero. While she doesn't have any particular move that is like super over the top powerful, she is maybe the most well-rounded of anyone except possibly Deku, but that's just because his ability is well-rounded in nature, and then it's just so overpowered that I guess there's that. But she can do so many things. It's really actually a lot more powerful than I think most people want to give credit. While Sara does have the advantage of dual wielding, she can actually use her tongue, which is basically equally as effective as one of his arms, so that's pretty powerful. She can stick to walls. She has like kind of superhuman abilities. She can do stuff like jump really far, and she's kind of like Spider-Man, where, and actually a lot of ways she's like Spider-Man, where she can stick to walls and whatnot, and she just seems to be physically stronger than most people would be. So I think overall, it's a really strong quirk, and she's very good at using it. So she's pretty good. I think number 7's a good spot. Coming in at number 6, I have Ida, the class representative of Class A. I don't think there's too much explaining here. He's a pretty intelligent guy, so he knows how to use his ability. He's basically just Sonic with the drawback that I guess kind of some weird stuff can happen to the engines in his legs, which is, by the way, like the weirdest quirk ever. But yeah, he's just super fast, meaning he can dodge stuff, he can get to people very quickly, as well as kick very hard. So it's not something super complex, but it is pretty overpowered, similar to how Deku's ability is quite overpowered. So I think that it's pretty reasonable to put him up this high. Coming in at number 5, very similar to Ida, I have Kirishima. Totally different ability, right? I mean, Ida's super fast and Kirishima is more like super durable and kind of strong. So they are opposites, but it's similar in the sense that it's just a really basic ability, which is kind of really strong, right? I mean, like, you know, Flash from DC is obviously really overpowered in the same way that Ida is, and Kirishima is like the armored titan of the My Hero universe. He's just super tanky, and he hits harder because of his ability to harden himself. When we do get to see him actually fighting, we see some pretty good accomplishments, so there's that. But more importantly, we find out that his ability is actually dependent on how well he can use it, I suppose. So theoretically, in the future, he could become nearly invincible if he trains his quirk enough, which I think definitely seals the deal on the top 5 spot for him. Speaking of the Armored Titan, though, let's talk about the My Hero character that shares a voice actor with the Armored Titan, Tokoyami. The thing that holds Tokoyami back is that his ability is kind of dependent on the amount of light in the area, so he can become significantly weaker, but as we've seen, that only becomes overwhelmingly a disadvantage when he is facing somebody like Todoroki or Bakugo, who have abilities that create massive amounts of light with really not much going on their end. They just can easily do it. And sure, at that point, he becomes almost useless. However, that's not that common. It's most of the time going to be pretty powerful. When we see him fighting in the middle of the day, the sun's out, no problem, he is making quick work of most people. So he's definitely very powerful, even despite the disadvantages that come. And not to mention, if we are going to consider the disadvantages at all, it's also worth noting the advantages of that, because when he's in pure nighttime, he becomes absolutely unbelievably overpowered. And as we're seeing, he is able to control that more and more. So in certain situations, he's actually crazy powerful. So I think 4th place is a very good spot for him. Next up in the number 3 spot, and remember, okay, we're not talking about the manga, we are talking about right before season 4, I have Deku. I don't think he's the most powerful character, but he is over the top. I would say he is considerably more powerful than Tokoyami. I'd say the big 3 here are the ones that are on a different level than everyone, and they're really only comparable to each other. I mean, this guy has one for all. Like, it's clearly the most overpowered quirk in the history of all time. So I don't think I need to explain too much. Like I said earlier, it's extremely versatile. It helps in every single way imaginable. He barely is even able to use it compared to All Might, and come on, he's already this good. Like, yeah. He definitely has earned the number 3 spot. Honestly, I feel like he's contesting 1 and 2. The number 2 spot goes to the person that I wish I could give number 1 because he is the best character in My Hero. Of course, I am talking about Bakugo. Bakugo's ability is so over the top, and not just that, but he is extremely intelligent and very good at using this ability. So he has a very easy time dealing with people, at least in combat situations. I mean, let's not forget that he almost defeated Todoroki in the actual battle that they had. Now, that might sound confusing, right? Because he did, technically. But Todoroki was not using his full power. I think if he was, Todoroki probably would have won that. But at the very least, he did prove that he can defeat Deku. You could argue that there were a few things going on there that might change things, but I think it was pretty clearly demonstrated that Bakugo was just barely able to defeat Deku, which I think is extremely impressive, especially considering I was saying that I think Deku could potentially be 1 or 2. Like, I mean, he really is that strong. So Bakugo being able to do that, I think, has earned him the number 2 spot. But, you know, it had to come down to this. I think the number 1 spot is unfortunately going to have to go to a pretty solid character overall, Todoroki. I mean, like, it's just the most ridiculous ability ever, right? Besides One for All, which is an ability that doesn't even make sense. Like, you can pass it on to other people. It's something that was kind of designed to be the most powerful ability. Besides that, Todoroki basically has the most insane thing of all time. I mean, I don't even really see why the fire thing is supposed to be such a big deal, since the ice is so unbelievably overpowered. Like, he was able to take Sara out in 1 second by creating a glacier half the size of the stadium, and I mean, I'm sure he could have made something bigger. Like, he didn't seem exhausted or anything even remotely close to that after he did so, so I guess, I'm assuming it could be a lot bigger. The guy is crazy overpowered. He also appears to be hyper intelligent. I mean, he is the son of Endeavor, the second strongest hero, so it doesn't really seem that complex to me. I'm gonna have to say Todoroki is probably the most powerful, currently at least, among Class A. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about this video, if you enjoyed it, if you thought my rankings were crazy. I would like to hear what you guys have to say. I love the criticism, so let me know what you think I should change about this video. With that all being said, I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.